Bullying is defined as when another person seeks to harm, intimidate, or coerce someone they perceive as vulnerable, or when the behavior of a person hurts or frightens someone smaller or less powerful than them. Bullying is essentially about power and control, and it isn't always physical. It can be verbal, online, emotional, prejudicial, sexual, physical, and even road bullying, which is what a lot of us do when driving in Nigeria, well, particularly Lagos. So like it or not, most of us have been bullies at one point in time or the other, and a lot of us are still bullies. We just may not realize it, or we ignore, rationalize, or justify it. But here's the thing. When bullying in any form or however little is left unchecked, it will only get worse. And as we've seen, it can lead to someone dying. Now, let's focus on child bullies. They weren't born as bullies. They learned it. And the likelihood is they learned it from you and I. They watch how we treat our staff, our spouse, strangers, people we see as beneath us, even people on the road, and how we treat them as well. And they begin to copy those behaviors. So before you condemn a child or adult for being a bully, ask yourself, am I a bully? Am I abusive to my staff? Do I shout at them? Do I shout at my children? Are my spouse and I constantly being verbally, emotionally, physically, or even sexually aggressive towards each other and to the people in our household or our circle of influence? Do I constantly talk down at people? Do I shout at people on the road? Do I drive aggressively or park illegally and then get defensive and abusive when I'm called out on it? The questions are a lot. There are a myriad of questions. But until we start being brutally honest and introspective, our children will continue to bully or be bullied because that's what we've unknowingly taught them. So now, let me introduce my guests, Unuajefe and Badiya Shehu Awak. Funmi is a media professional who has spent many years delivering excellent TV content, hosting events, and producing shows. Whilst Badiya Shehu Awak is a counselor and life coach. She's the lead coach at Sage Kind Counseling and Coaching, Inc. She's trained in emotional mastery, freedom technique, and NLP from the Olushola Lanre Coaching Academy. Welcome, Funmi. Welcome, Badiya.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It really is an honor to have you both.
It's a pleasure.
And I believe that having you both is going to be different perspectives.
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to look at it from different sides of the coin. One, as a counselor and life coach. Two, as a parent.
Yeah.
But my very first question to you would be, are you a bully? Who wants to go first?
That's a difficult one, but we have to be honest about it. Every one of us has been a bully at one point or the other. Just that with awareness, like when I came into my training, I became more aware of the impacts of the effect of what I do, and I'm conscious about self-improvement, which is there are times you find yourself short, but so long as you bring yourself back, call yourself back into order, then I think the awareness is the major thing that, and notice the trigger, working on the trigger to just keep yourself in check. Yeah.
Okay, I like that the counselor went first. I am a bully, and then I won't say. Even though we know when we're talking earlier on, you're saying how bully was a good word before it now became a bad word.
Actually, let me tell you what bully was. The word bully was a Middle Dutch word called boeli.
Okay.
Yeah? And it means lover.
Oh, really?
Yes, it means lover. At the time, bully was used in English to mean sweetheart.
Interesting.
Its use then became more general, coming to mean fine fellow. So it went from being lover to sweetheart to fine fellow. And then it became the opposites, swaggering coward.
Oh, wow.
And this was around the 1700s. So it's from swaggering coward that it now became what we now know as bully.
That's interesting involvement. Well, for me, I'll say yes. I bully, sometimes to get things done. I bully like everybody. People older than me, people, my age mates, and then of course people that are younger than me. It's really maybe in the course of work. If you want to get some things done, I find that sometimes all this soft-spoken and you're speaking on Instagram. Oh, please, can you get it done? Let's get. But when you open your eyes, it's really even like in this environment sometimes.
Yep.
When you just open your eyes and like you're not going to take it. Can you get this done now, please? And you just sit on it. And if that is defined as bullying, then maybe I'll just consider myself one then.
Exactly. And I will ask myself the same question. And the answer is yes. I shout when I shouldn't. Sometimes, like you, in this in Nigeria generally, sometimes to get things done, only way to get somebody's attention is to shout.
Yeah, true.
Well, it's like it became the social culture.
Yes.
Yeah, the bullying thing became like a societal culture thing, like to get to be heard.
Yes.
To be heard, to get things done, to be more effective. Like you have to have this.
You have to be
This
aggressive.
person, yeah, you have to be aggressive
I think that's
and have
the
this
thing.
personality.
I don't know how we got there, though. That's a sad thing. And to buttress what she said, I can remember one time when a few years ago when I was shot in a robbery incident on Western Avenue, and when I got to the police station and I was bleeding, the policemen still were not attending to me. And so the taxi driver that took me there was saying, "Madam, don't shout." So I was telling him, I said, "If I don't shout, Oga, this place, I will die here. Even you." I said, "There's blood on my body and they're not attending to me. And you think I do attend to? I have to shout to get the attention that I need." So I think that sadly our country has socialized us in such a way that you have to have some form of aggression to get things done, in a certain way. It's not supposed to be, but it happens like most
So
of the
how
time.
do we then, so we're justifying it and rationalizing it. And even though our justification and rationalization it's correct.
Okay.
Yes. At what point does it now become a problem? Because it's almost like saying everything you do has a reason why you do it.
Yeah, sure.
So far as I can justify it, it's okay. But that is not okay.
No.
So at what point does it now become a huge problem?
Well, from the definition you said, like bullying is about doing hurtful things or saying hurtful things to someone. It becomes bullying when it becomes repetitive. It's rude, an intention is there. The person intends to hurt, and that person does it over and over again. Whereas like being rude, the person might do it unintentionally, might hurt you unintentionally, or someone might intentionally hurt you, but not repetitive. That's being mean. So sometimes things happen like in schools now, like a one-time thing. A child might report and say, so person bullied me. But when it becomes repetitive, that's when it's actually bullying. And that's what we see mostly around in the homes, in families, in the schools as well, on the streets, in relationships, because it's repetitive. The person will tell you or show you that he doesn't like it, but you still do it again, and you know that it's hurting that person. So that's bullying.
So how do we then check it?
I think, first of all, in checking it, it's to, first of all, admit to ourselves that we, and I will speak from a parent's perspective. On the flip side, because I've adopted this, should I say, aggressiveness and this strong woman front, my child, on the other hand, is just very, quiet, easygoing, this geek loving and all that. But I recently found out that because he's like that, he has also like found like a mechanism to like defend himself, verbally. So when people try, and because he's quiet and all of that, and so in class, so there was a time that his teacher actually complained to me and said that, "Oh, Brume did this and this," even though she had also commended him that on the playground at some point, I think when it was in primary 3 or primary 4, he looks out for the younger children on the playground if somebody else is trying to bully. So even before he goes to report, he has checked the bully on the ground. But he had now found out that because he's quiet, people now try to get at him. So because he can't, be physical, so he has girded up his words. So because he reads a lot, so he gets like all sorts of words to, he doesn't use all words like maybe stupid or no, he gets like dictionary meanings of words to insult people, and then
Wow.
that became so. But I had to learn to put a balance to that. I said it's fantastic that you defend yourself and you're able to speak up, but I said please don't speak up only to insult. You can try and look for ways to talk to the person and get the person, or report. In this case, you're in a school setting, ensure to report to an adult, because if that bully goes to report to the adult first, what always happens is that is sometimes the first person to report. So go and tell. So if you have not reported the adult and you find the adult didn't do anything, you can now go there and say that, oh, I've reported to my teacher twice or thrice. So that also is all for us to realize as parents. You see that definition you give and your intro in the beginning. How are you talking about people? How are you behaving? Children, we always like them children to do what we say. But
not what we do.
Not what we, but they see us every day.
Yes.
So even sometimes when I'm telling my son something and he's telling me that, Mom, you're doing the same thing. So for example, when we're coming here, like I said, he followed me to work today and he was trying to get himself ready, but he was on his phone and I took the phone from him. And so when we got into the car, he wanted to, I said, no, you can't have your phone. And he was saying, but you are using your phone. I said, yes, I'm using it for work. I'm trying to communicate with the producer on set and blah, blah, blah. But your phone distracted you from what you were supposed to have done, in getting ready, and I'm almost late for work. So you also have to, you have to own your own self and say, this is my own mistake that I'm doing. How do I begin to consciously change? Because especially when you have children, some of the things that you have neglected before, children bring it to the fore, make you see how you need to change this character. So you two now have to now begin to change it. Because you see, when this young man died in this Doan College thing, there were so many things. For example, in my platform, I went to a federal government girls' school. I wrote a lot of things on the WhatsApp platform, and then it was quiet for the entire day. Why? Because when I was in secondary school, seniors bullied us, and it was terrible, punishing us. But they are mothers now. So I was telling them, I said, you're all mothers now. You're all orgas in your own industry now. And all of you are shouting about doing college. Please, I hope you remember when you were in FGC Nibusa, all the things that you did and how you're going to consciously change it. And ensure that your own children are not bullies also in school. So we have to own our mistakes and consciously begin to change it. And it's because that is what our children will see, not what we tell them.
Especially for children, we have to be conscious of the first 7 years. Which is
First
the
7 years.
Yes, first 7 years, which is the formative years. It's the time where they download all the programs, the scripts in their subconscious mind. So whatever they download in those first 7 years, that's the script they will use.
Wow.
Through their adulthood. So we have to be conscious. This modeling thing, it's a serious thing, because children do what they see, not what you tell them to do. For instance, maybe if you find a child, or if a child grows up in a place whereby maybe people don't walk, they crawl, that child is most likely to crawl instead of walking. Because that's what he sees, what he hears. There's an experiment that was done in the 60s under social learning, the Bubble Doll experiment.
Okay.
And the psychologist had this something like a blown up doll called the Bubble Doll, and he had these children. He classified into like 3, and then he brings this set of children in, and then all they see is the adults physically hitting, verbally abusing, the Bubble Doll.
Okay.
And then there was this group that had the Bubble Doll was there, but then there were other toys to play with, and they saw the adults playing with those other toys, like the Tinkerbox, assembling things, painting, and all that. And there was a control group that had, they were just left, So after a while, these children were now taken to another room where the Bubble Doll is there, the all the toys, the painting, everything was there. But the children that were exposed to this experiment of the hitting went straight to the Bubble Doll and started hitting, verbally insulting, kicking the doll. Wow. So you see, that's how children actually pick up aggression. So when anything like this comes up, it calls for introspection. Like, look within. What have I been showing this child? How do I relate to them as a parent? How do I relate to my spouse? How do I relate to my domestic staff, to other people? So we need to put things in check. Let these children see us being kind, showing empathy to people. That's how they learn.
So I agree with you. So I want to bring this back home to our culture.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Lagosians, Nigerians.
Yeah.
Hustle is real.
Can you exactly? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lagos frustrates you. Can you give me each of you, three practical examples of how we can begin to change the narrative as Nigerians living in chaotic Lagos?
Well, it begins from you, actually. Whatever happens from the home, trying to tame our emotions, manage our emotions. Not this yelling, shouting. And even when you do it, you should be able to take responsibility for your actions. Let your child see you owning up. Like when you do it, be able to apologize and try to make amends for what you have done. Because I realized that adults feel they can get away with everything. So they don't show these children the making amends part of things, owning up to your actions.
Yeah.
So the children lack how to like apologize, show empathy, and do things to just, So basically our actions, keeping our family value system in check, because the children need to know what your expectations are clearly and what the consequences are for what they do clearly, and be able to associate their actions with the consequence.
I see.
Yeah.
Funmi, can you give me your three
So
examples?
your question is about the chaotic Lagos. I don't know if we truly answered this question about if your child is actually the bully.
Okay.
So I think I'll go to that. I think counselors. So for the chaotic Lagos part, I just think that first of all, in the morning, I don't know, whatever religion you practice, whether it's yoga you want to do, whether it's meditation, you truly must ask God for power. Because if you do not, you will kill people. I'm sorry, I'm probably will be having a serial killer in this Lagos state. And just drag people out of their car, just dealing with them in the way that they annoy you. So you really must have a place where you meditate, zone in, and ask God for wisdom, strength, and power. But for the question of this, so that we don't miss that, is what if you find out if your child is a bully
Exactly.
in school or anywhere they've come to report, because everybody's talking about taking up, but there are bullies that are perpetrating this. So if you find out that your child is the one that is the bully, please do not come and be making excuses for the child. Sit down and have a conversation first with that child. And luckily now, when I was growing up, there were no people like Hawaii in this place. There were nobody. They didn't exist. There were no coaches with NLP and psychologists and everything. The mother would take in and flog you, then she would carry all your family members to talk to you. Luckily, they are experts now.
Yeah.
So first of all, when you have a conversation with your child, so sometimes bullies don't mean to be bullies. I'm not making excuses. I'm not speaking for all the bullies. I just give an example of my own child. Sometimes it may be a defense mechanism for that child, or there may be something else that child is dealing with and is acting out somewhere else. So you really need to find what the root cause
But
is.
that then goes
That
back to
brings
what
into-
Badiya said.
yeah.
It starts from the home.
Yes, that's from the whole.
You know?
So you have to realize, realize that that's one. Then go to experts and take your child, whether to a psychologist or whatever it is, to try and get the expert. Speak with the school, work with the school to try and see how they can work with you. So it's not about the school is against my child, or work with the school and see how, and then hopefully things will work out. And
I like what she said about working with the
Working
school,
with the
because
schools.
most parents get on the defense, like
Yes.
you're trying to judge their parenting skills. and all that.
Which is true. However, I always start from a place of inwards, introspective.
yeah.
It's what you do, like you both said, remodeling.
Yeah.
And whilst there is the first 7 years, like you've said, even if you miss that first 7 years, you can unlearn.
Keep trying.
Sure.
If
sure,
you're
sure.
introspective.
Yes.
So the onus is on us, the adults,
Yes.
to begin to change the
Yeah,
narrative.
true. Very true.
Thank you so much.
Thank
As
you for
always, it's never enough time.
Yeah, I know, I know.
This really is a topic that we can talk about forever and ever.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Badiya. Thank you so much for me.
Thank
It was
you.
really,
Thank
really
you.
great having both of you. I really do hope that we've all learned something here. And the most important thing I want us to be able to take away today is you have to be introspective. We all have the ability to be bullies, unfortunately. And a lot of the times our children are the bullies themselves. And that's because that's what they've seen from us. So please, let's be more honest with ourselves, be more introspective, and begin to change the narrative. Thank you so much for watching. John, Helen, and myself will very, very quickly round up the show. So please stay with us for a few more minutes. Thank you.